So we were dealing with hierarchy of convergence concepts. So we said convergence almost surely and convergence in the rth mean implies convergence in probability, and that convergence in probability implies convergence in distribution, right. And between these two we know that if the converse is not true, but if the limit is a constant, then they are equivalent, right. Here we gave a counter example. We proved this last class. We proved a major theorem about the equivalence of almost sure convergence and excursions beyond M, right. And using that we proved almost sure convergence implies convergence in probability. We have also given a counter example that the converse is not true, right. And this direction we proved using Markov inequality, and the converse you can, I do not know the converse, did I give an example? If not, we will find an example soon. Okay. And so I think what remains is I have to give counter examples in that neither of these are implied, right. So the almost sure does not imply mean square convergence, and mean square convergence does not imply almost sure convergence, right. So to see that, so if you want to, so if xn converges to x, almost surely does not imply convergence in, let us say, mean square. In order to see this, it's actually we have already seen this example. So you have, let us say, the 0 1 interval as your sample space, and let xn of omega be, so xn of omega is equal to n from omega in 0 comma 1 over n equal to 0 otherwise, right. So remember this example. So in this case your, so in this case we do have convergence almost surely, right. xn tends to 0 almost surely, right, because as n tends to infinity, for every omega you have, in fact this is the way I have defined it, I think it is sure convergence actually. For every omega in the sample space you have xn of omega going to 0, right. And in this case of course, so what is expected xn squared? Expectation of xn squared is, can you not compute it from here? N squared times one over n plus 0, right. Right. So limit n tending to infinity, expectation of xn minus 0 the whole square is infinity, right. So the mean square goes to infinity, whereas the random variable goes to 0 almost surely, right. So with very small probability the random variable takes very large values, correct. So although the random variable is tending to 0 almost surely, you have a situation where the mean squared is infinity, going to infinity, the mean goes to 1, right, that we have already seen, okay. And in order to, so that is the counter example to show this is not true, right. And in order to show that, so if you want to show xn tending to x in the mean square does not imply here again you have seen an example already. So you take xn equal to 1 with probability 1 over n equal to 0 with probability 1 minus 1 over n, and xn independent, all the xi's are independent, okay. So, in this case you have already shown that x n does not tend to x almost surely. Remember how did we show it? Borel-Cantelli lemma, right. So, in this case it is very easy to show on the other hand that x n approaches 0 in the mean square, right, correct, because what is expected x n squared, it is 1 times 1 over n. So, expected x n square goes to 0. So, you do have mean square convergence and you do not have almost sure convergence. Okay. So, that way you have also disproved that. Okay. So, between these two there is no relationship, right, one may hold, the other may not hold, neither, right. So, you cannot say any implication between them. Any questions? Okay, so now what we will do is so there are a few other convergence results which I will state without proof. Okay, they are useful in what we are going to study about law of large numbers and so on. The proof is proofs in some cases may be somewhat long and technical. So, I am just going to state the theorems so that you are aware of the results, okay, and you can always consult more advanced textbooks if you want to read the proof. So, here is a theorem. If x n converges to x in probability, then there exists a deterministic subsequence, increasing subsequence n1 n2 dot 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 such that x n I converges to x almost surely as I tends to infinity. Okay. So, this is a nice result to know. In fact, it is going to help us later when we prove strong law of large numbers. So, this result says, so you know the following, right, you know that convergence almost surely always implies convergence in probability, but the converse is not true, right. So, here for example, in this example we have convergence in probability, but not convergence almost surely, right, with me. So, the difference is essentially that convergence in probability only demands that epsilon excursion at n must have vanishingly small probability, whereas convergence almost surely demands that epsilon excursions n and beyond must have vanishingly small probability, correct. Now, what this theorem is saying is like a partial converse to this. We know that this implication is not true, this implication is not true, but what this theorem is saying that some partial converse is true, in the sense that if x n approaches x, say x n converges to x in probability, it may not be true that x n converges to x almost surely, but there may be some subsequence which converges almost surely. Okay. So, I think the best way to explain this is to just give an example. Okay. In fact, the example is going to be this. Okay, this guy. So, our favorite example, right. So, this is not a proof. Okay, it is only an example, right, to make my point. So, again you take x n is equal to 1 with probability 1 over n equal to 0 with probability 1 minus 1 over n, x n's are independent. Here what was the problem? So, here x n was converging to 0 in probability, right. So, the probability of x n itself being 1 is very small, right, it is like 1 over n, but because this Borel-Cantelli lemma 2 says that no matter how far out you go, there will be some 1 popping off somewhere, right. So, you do not have the statement that beyond n you are always guaranteed to be within epsilon, that is not true, right. So, I drew a picture. So, no matter how, so let us say this is your n, right. So, the probability of x n being 1 is very small, right, but no matter how big n is, there may be one occasional 1 that pops off here, right, no matter how far you go, right, there will be with probability 1 some 1 that is popping off, right, because Borel-Cantelli lemma 2 says that. Now, what this theorem is saying, if you subsample, right, the subsequence is simply sampling your like it is not looking at all indices, it is looking at certain sampling of these indices. It is saying that you can sample in such a way that you will avoid these occasional ones popping off, okay. Is that clear? So, no matter how far out you go, it is true that there will be the occasional one popping off, but you can find a subsequence such that you can avoid those ones because they are rare enough, okay. So, this is a, and this these subsequence that the ones, the n's that you select are can be chosen in a deterministic way, it does not depend on omega, okay. By deterministic I mean it does not depend on the particular realization omega. For example, in this case how would you do it? Is there, can you think of a sampling, can you think of a subsequence for which the convergence to 0 is almost surely true? So, if you take, so suppose you do this, right, suppose you take ni equal to I squared, okay, that is my subsequence. So, I am instead of and I am considering the sequence not x1 x2 so on, I am considering x1 x4 x9 x16 and so on, okay, fine. So, I am not looking at all n's, I am looking at 1 4 9 16 that subsequence. So, now what is the probability that let ni equal to I squared, now probability that x ni equal to 1 is what, sorry, 1 over I squared, correct. So, what do you have now? So, Borel-Cantelli lemma 1 will imply that x ni converges to 0 almost surely, correct. So, if you look at x1 x2 x3 and so on, no matter how far out you go, you are guaranteed to find some 1 popping off, but now you are looking at rare enough instances, right, you are looking at 1 4 9 16, you are going very quickly, right. So, this subsequence ends up avoiding all the ones eventually, okay. This is not a proof again, this is just an example, and this is always true whenever you have x n converging to x in probability, there is always some subsequence, it may not be 1 over I squared, it may not be I squared, but it is some other subsequence, but deterministic subsequence such that x n I converges to x almost surely, okay. This is clear?
Deterministic subsequence.
So, as I said, a deterministic subsequence, so what I mean is that the ni, right, the ni that you choose does not depend on omega.
Is it mandatory that there should be some relation like I square or
No, that is not, but there is a deterministic relationship. So, here in this case for example ni was I squared, right, it is a deterministic relationship, it does not depend on my realization of what the xn's are, it does not depend on omega in any way. It may not be I squared in particular, it may be something else, but it is a deterministic relationship. Okay. It can be chosen irrespective of omega, that is what this deterministic means. Actually you can, it does not have to be I squared, it can be I power 1 plus delta and that would be enough, right.
What I was asking is, can I take the sequence like 1 to 10, 15?
You have, yeah, I mean, yeah, so you have to figure out whether it is this convergence holds, but there always exists some subsequence, whether you manage to find it, whether your favorite subsequence holds or not is a different story. Here in this particular case I do not have to have 149, I can have I to the 1 plus delta or something like that, right. So I just need Borel-Cantelli lemma, the summation to be finite and I am done, right. So if you look at rare enough indices, you are going to end up missing all the occasional, there are very few ones by the way, right, but they do occur no matter how far out you go, but if you slightly undersample these indices you end up missing all of them eventually, right. So this is good to know, this theorem is very useful, it is going to help us in strong law of large numbers. Okay. Actually it is going to help us in going from weak law of large numbers to strong law of large numbers. Okay. Okay, there is another theorem again which is which I will state, this is called Skorokhod theorem, Skorokhod representation theorem. Let xn n greater than or equal to 1 and x be random variables on omega f p such that xn converges to x in distribution. Then there exists a probability space omega prime f prime p prime and random variables yn and y on this omega prime p prime such that yn have the same distribution as xn and y the same distribution as x and yn converges to y almost surely. Okay. So, this says that, so you know that almost sure convergence is strong convergence, right. It is a very strong notion of convergence. It is stronger than in probability, which is stronger than convergence in distribution. Now, this Corochord representation theorem says, suppose you have convergence in distribution, it does not imply any other form of convergence necessarily, but it says that if you have convergence in distribution, you can find a sequence of random variables in another probability space which has the same distribution as your initial sequence, but now the convergence in the new space is almost surely. Okay. So, actually this is a constructive proof. You can actually, if I remember correctly, you can actually take this omega prime f prime p prime as your 0 1 interval 0 1 interval Borel and Lebesgue. Okay. So, you can in particular explicitly construct a sequence such that you have you can construct a sequence y n which has the same distribution as x n and y which has the same distribution as x, but in the new probability space which may have nothing to do with this, you will have convergence almost surely. Okay. These two spaces can be very different. This may be a space of coin tosses or something, this may be, for example, this may be real line or 0 1 interval. Okay. But the distributions will be, CDFs will be the same and the convergence will be almost sure. Okay. And the proof is constructive, you can explicitly construct such a sequence. This is again a useful theorem to invoke in a few places. Okay. It comes in handy in a few places.